Yay! Hi, I'm Lonnie. I'm an addict.
Hi, Lonnie.
So I was sitting here. Normally, anyone who knows me knows I'm kind of withdrawn to an extent until I start talking. I start talking a lot. Trying to calm my mind because I don't know. Show of hands. Anyone else here overthink shit all the time?
Okay.
Cool. I'm not alone. So I was trying to figure out like where to start and like what to say and all that, and I decided I'm not. And a wise man told me just don't plan, and I'm gonna go with that. So I'm gonna start at the beginning. I'm come from an interesting family. Mom's a functional alcoholic to an extent.
My mom.
No, your mom is something else. But, you know, PTSD, mental health, all that. And growing up in my family, my earliest memories are of just me, my mom, and my sister. Because, you know, single mom for a long time. I don't really remember my dad super early in my childhood. I know he tried to be there, but him and my mom are like oil and water. They're good, like, apart, but together they just don't work. But a very, very strict, very, very militaristic upbringing because my parents are military. And one thing I learned is the military trains people on how to do a job and not much else. Like when it comes to like being emotionally there, not so much. I learned you deal with it. Either you deal with it or you shut up about it and you keep moving. And that was, you know, men don't cry kind of a thing. Yeah. So that's what I did for a long time. And then I always wanted, like, you know, you always wanted to, like, idolize your father, but he wasn't there. So I had my stepdad, who I still don't understand how this man did what he did. Like, coaching his son's little league team while being full-time in the military, going to school full-time, and also taking his military courses all at once, do stuff like 2 hours a night. So I tried to be that, and that really didn't work. Like, I played football in high school because my dad played football, and I was a good kid, too. Like, never got in trouble, never got detention, suspended, any of that. Well, until I turned 18, which is funny because when I turned 18, I got arrested for the first time for possession of marijuana on school grounds. And instead of being like, hey, I'm going to go home and face the consequences, I did what I think a lot of us have done before, and that's I ran. And I literally walked the streets of Tucson. Like, I walked from Palo Verde on 22nd and Cole to, like, Sunnyside and back before I got home. Oh, yeah, I got arrested in first period. I got home at 9 o'clock at night. And I remember my dad, because at this time I lived with my dad because I made a decision when I was a kid to go live with my father before I graduated because I never really got a chance to know my father growing up. Like, what kind of parent was he? So I did, and I walked in the front door, and he's on the phone with his mom, and me, like my dad, he's a mama's boy, just like I'm a mama's boy. Hangs up the phone on his mother, and it's for him to his mom, yeah. So for him to hang up the phone on his mom must have meant something serious. And he didn't say hi. He didn't yell at me. He put the phone down and threw the hardest right hand I think I've ever seen throw in the history of the world. Like, I'm not a small person, but he lifted me off the ground, launched me about 3 feet back into the air, bounced off the door, and then in about 15 seconds landed 18 punches on the back of my head. Which was actually pretty impressive. That was it. Then he was like, I'm not going to ground you. I'm not going to yell at you. You've already signed up for the military, and you just got arrested for drug possession. So let's see how that works out. Which actually surprisingly worked out well because I ended up joining the military. And prior to all this, I'd already started like down that road of using. Like, this is the first year I've ever gone a full year being completely sober since I was 15. And I was thinking about that the other day, right? You know, pothead in high school, even though none of the teachers knew it, so I got arrested and carried out in handcuffs, and they were all surprised. drinking a lot, like every day, all day, to the point where I was so bad in high school that by my senior year, when I came in sober, my teachers thought I was high, because they had never seen like a sober me. So I run off. I joined the military because mom's military, dad's military, stepdad's military. That seems like
mom's military.
she was. That seemed like the route to go, right? And don't get me wrong, I've always said this, and I always will. As fucked up as our country is, and all the bad stuff here, I still love this country. There's more opportunities here than anywhere else, honestly. And it's my home. It's where I'm from. That's cool. Ashley says it's really cool. Anyways, I get distracted easily.
I'm showing this.
You're showing this? Thanks. Okay. It's okay. So I go in the military, and I go off. And anyone who knows me knows, like, when it comes to doing stuff, like work-wise and book-wise and study-wise, I'm really, really good at it. Emotional stuff, no, not so much. So in the military, you don't need emotions, which is fucking awesome for me because emotions are stupid. Even to this day, I still think emotions are stupid. If we could all be robots, it'd be great. But we're not, so we have to learn how to deal with them. And when you actually start getting to like actually working on your emotions, even the good ones and the bad ones, and all that mixed together, it's a beautiful thing, right? I didn't think so for a long time, so I had two emotions. And anyone who knows me knows they were angry and more angry. And that was it. And sad. And that's what I thought. So I'm in the military, I'm in basic training, and these people are ripping into me left and right? For everything. You know, your shoes, one shoe is 1/10 of a degree.
Go faster?
Not right now. One shoe is 1/10 of a degree shinier than the other shoe, so you're going to do push-ups. Your hair, which we cut for you, seems to be growing in funny, so you're going to do push-ups. You're born on Lackland Air Force Base? You're dumb. That's what they do the basic training at. So you came back here, more push-ups. But that's okay. I like push-ups.
Clearly.
So, right? So, I did that, and I was never worried about getting yelled at because I came from a family of people that would yell at you, and they could put their hands on me. You know, military people can't. At least not anymore. So I did that. Honor graduate, did the whole 9, did the whole celebration, and it was actually one of the very few high points of my life. Because it's one, I was an honor graduate, which only 1/10, I think, of the military population has ever done, which is cool. Which that's less than 1% of 1% of 1% of the world, at least in the U.S., has done that. So I did that. It was awesome, but it felt hollow. Like it was the first time I heard my dad actually ever say he was proud of me, which was hurting. It was hurt because everybody wants their dad to tell them that they're proud of them or to make their dad proud.
Can I erase this?
My dad never did that, so I just had to deal with that. Right? My dad never told me he was proud of me, and for the longest time, I hated him for it. You know, like growing up, it was, you're fast, but I'm faster. You're smart, but I'm smarter. You're strong, but I'm stronger. All of that. I was always good, but never, ever was I good enough. And that left a kind of indelible mark on my psyche. Dante, please stop. So that made me messed up in the head. And I carried the fact that I was good, but not good enough with me for a very long time. Still do to an extent. And I still worry about, am I worthy of being happy? But I'll get to that. I did, right? My dad cried, said he was proud of me. He's like, he legitimately said, I never thought that you could do something better than me. Which was amazing and it hurt at the same time because that means he never thought I was good enough to begin with, right? Circle all back around. So I found this lovely, lovely substance when I was in, even more so, called alcohol, right? Like, cause I always felt weird, always felt out of place, but playing beer pong, I was a pro. I could run the table all night long, and I felt like I fit in, right? But it was weird because I had to feel different to feel like I was fitting in. You know what I mean? Like, I never felt like I fit in. If you looked at me from the outside, you're like, this dude is a soldier. Or actually airman. Soldier's army. I was smarter than that, I think. No, I'm not. So I did. And you looked at it, wow, he fits the bill. Still hold squadron records that literally can't be broken because I broke the system. Because, like I said, when it comes to work stuff, I'm awesome. When it comes to personal stuff, I'm trash. Not so much trash as I am now. But I did. And that was the first time I faced real serious ramifications because of my using. Got kicked out of the Air Force, right? Like, yeah. I mean, I was always the problem child, still am. But I did that and I got out. And that's when I came home, I got a job here. It's actually the same job I have now, 11 years later. And I ran into one of, if not the most singularly important people in my entire life. And that is his mom. Who to this day, despite everything that we've been through, and it, Jesus, has been a lot. We've been through a lot together and apart. Still love her to death, even though she left me broken. Well, I can't say she left me broken. You can't break someone else besides yourself. So yeah, I mean, great, dealing with her. And it was great at first, but everything still felt off. But we made it work somehow. And by made it work, I mean we spent $350 a night at the bar on a regular basis. Oh yeah. So we did that. And I could never figure out why, even though having a really good job, making pretty, really good money, why am I always broke? And that kind of does it. And then I got some great news one day, right? She calls me up. I'm at work and she's in tears, like freaking out, crying. Like, oh my God, babe, I gotta tell you something. And I was like, okay, spit it out. What's up? I don't know, you're gonna be mad. And I was like, you do know, I already know. And she was like, what? I'm like, so put words to it so I can stop dealing with this shit. You and your goddamn hormonal, emotional self. So she gets real calm and she's like, I'm pregnant. And I was like, yeah, I know. Yeah, how'd you know? Again, hormonal. And I pick up on things pretty well. So that was literally like, that's when I stopped drinking. Like, almost cold turkey. But still didn't make it a year or so, right? We ended up moving to Maryland because my stepdad said they could get me a job doing the same thing that I did in the Air Force, which, believe it or not, I flew satellites for a living. Like, really cool stuff. Like, really got to be up there in IQ. Like I said, smart, but not life smart. So I go over, I fly my 9-month pregnant girlfriend from Tucson, Arizona to fucking Sykesville, Maryland. You know what's in Sykesville, Maryland? Nothing. At all. Just a bunch of snooty fucking rich white people. And when I say rich white people, I mean like rich white people. Which I don't want to sound like I'm being condescending to white folks because my mom is snooty rich white people. Like everybody in my mom's family are millionaires. Except for my mom because she decided instead of going to school like everyone else in her family, she wanted to join the service. And you don't make money in the service. You just don't. But like her and my stepdad made, I don't know, 200 and something thousand a year, and they were the poor family. Like less than 2 miles away, the owner of Under Armour lived right down the street. Ridiculous. So I felt even more out of place because here I am, no job, 9-month pregnant girlfriend, technically homeless, and my stepdad goes, oh hey, I know I told you you could get this job, but your security clearance isn't high enough. So good luck. So I got back into doing what I was doing. Selling furniture. Let's go do. But like I said, never felt that place, so I started drinking again. Like, so much so that it wasn't uncommon to find me hugging the toilet somewhere, praying to the horse and goddess, because what happens? So daughter is born, we finally get our own place. Things are starting to look kind of good, right? And we end up losing that place because responsibility and adulting, fuck it, stupid. And then you would think in all that, in the midst of all that chaos and hell, and you can't take care of your own, one child, let's not bring another one into the world. So along comes my son Dallas.
It doesn't stretch too fast.
Or September 7th, okay. Right? Oh, August 7th. And it's 2 months later, the single worst day of
Different.
my life.
Different.
Which, that's why I said it was ironic that today someone asked me to tell my story, because October 1st, 2012, at 12:04 a.m.,
Like that.
my oldest daughter, Agleka Bethany Thomas, was pronounced dead in a hospital when her heart stopped. I remember making this phone call to my ex, or now ex. She was living in a homeless shelter dealing with opiate addiction because of painkillers, right? So she's in a homeless shelter, and I have to call her saying our daughter didn't wake up.
Yes.
They don't think she's going to make it through the afternoon.
It's the same. Okay?
And that's really when I just said, fuck it, we're going off the rails for a little bit, right? And so she's like, what do you mean? She doesn't believe me. I call out of work. I drive from the hospital, I think it was St. Jude's, in Baltimore, to a homeless shelter to pick up my ex. And she sees me, she collapses. Because, and I still feel guilty about this to this day. Not so much shameful anymore, I've worked through it, but she missed the last 2 weeks of our daughter's life because she was in a shelter and I was living in a 5-bedroom house with my family, comfortable, right? So my daughter, on today, to this morning was the morning we found her in her crib, not moving, not breathing, not responsive, right? So we bring her to the hospital, and the doctors literally said, we don't know if you're going to make it there and back in time. So my mom's freaking out, my stepdad's freaking out, and I'm numb. Like, I can't feel. It's so much happening that with never being taught how to process emotions, I don't know how to process it. My body's shutting down, and I'm just an autopilot, and I'm just going. So we get back, and I just remember it was weird because that day it had started raining, and it didn't rain for like 2 weeks before that. It started raining on that day. I remember being on my knees in the rain, screaming, cursing God. And anyone who's heard me share before has probably heard me say, God can go fuck himself, right? I don't believe that as much. We're still not on best terms, but I'm working on it.
Can you push
right?
it auto?
So deal with that. Now, I want to shut down, and I kind of did for a full week. And it was crazy because my daughter, her heart didn't stop until everybody who was going to be at her funeral showed up at the hospital, which is impressive, or almost everybody, because we had family come in from New Jersey to Maryland, Pennsylvania, fucking Texas, like literally all over the country. They were there within days, but the main ones were there while, you know, they cleared it out. Me and my ex were in the hospital room, and she flatlined. And I mean, they tried everything, but the doctors were cool about it because they never held anything back. And I can still remember holding her cold, like literally she was cold, because they actually lowered her body temperature to try to keep her alive longer. So I'm trying to deal with all of that, but I have a 2-month-old that I have to raise, right? So now we're two emotionally broken people. Probably shouldn't bring another child into the world. So what do? Second daughter is born less than a year later. And so on and so forth until we have fucking 5 kids. And we've been in and out of houses. Had place was evicted.
How do you
and
get this in?
I sent my ex here after he lost our last place in Maryland. You know, to kind of get things going, right?
Okay.
Oh, by the way, this is a very depressing story at first. Figured I'd share that with you guys about halfway through. But, so we deal with that, right? And we're processing and, not processing, compartmentalizing. Because I didn't want to process, I didn't know how to. So I just put it in boxes and put it on a shelf. More boxes and more on the shelf. And then you realize that a shelf can only hold so many boxes before it starts to teeter. And that shelf was my mental health, right? So, I mean, I'm numb for years. I ended up coming back to Maryland, getting a job doing the same exact thing.
Look at I don't know.
Before I did that, I have 2 kids that don't know who I am. And it sucks when I call my sister and I hear, hey, Mommy, what's Daddy doing? Knowing that's my daughter talking to my sister about my brother-in-law. But they're in a great place. They're loved. They're taken care of, right?
Dad.
So I come back because my last chance. Yes, Dante?
Can you close this?
You don't need me to. My last chance to be a good parent is with this little guy right here, right, Dante.
Yeah.
So I fly back. There he is. I fly back from Maryland to here because he was already here. I sent them back almost a year before, right? And I mean, I didn't come back empty-handed. I came back. I had saved up to get an apartment and furnish it. And anyone who knows, if you give a drug addict access to your bank account, you can have $5,000 in them, and within a week you'll have $0,000, right? And that is exactly what happened. Fucking weird. I should have, it's like I should have known better moments, but I hate, the word should is not a good word for people like us. You should be better. You should be farther along. You should have this. You should have that. No, you should be exactly where you are in this moment, learning something. The only shirt I can think of is should be learning. And if not, all right, well, we'll get there eventually. So we end up homeless again, couch surfing, bouncing around, panhandling, even though I have a job that I have now. It's a good job. So this little kid sees us, and he goes through all of that with us. Being out literally days on end in the sun, trying to get a hotel room, trying to get an apartment. You name it, we went through it, right? I think, Dante, you've had what? 5 houses? 6 maybe?
2.
More than 2. And he's 4. No 4-year-old should have lived in 6 different houses, right? So he goes through all that. And somehow I'm still holding it all together, and I was still somewhat clean. Not really. And I just get tired of it. I get tired of always being the responsible one. I get tired of always being the one, because my ex to this day will not say our oldest daughter's name, which is Aglaika Bethany Thomas. Very, very Irish Celtic name, because I'm a very Irish Celtic person, right? But I just got fucking tired of it. Like, always having to be. I always made it a point to feel for 2 people, for me and for my ex, but you can't do, right? You can only feel for yourself. So I overloaded myself like I have a tendency to do, and it made me angry and very, very resentful. Very resentful. So I knew she would have started using again, because, you find a bubble here and there. Okay, my friend left it, and I didn't want her to get arrested. Okay, I can buy that once, twice. All right, it's a pattern. Hey, what's this broken stem doing in the bottom of your purse? Oh, I emptied my purses out, and I just had it in there. No, you have OCD, so you don't just empty a purse and swap them out. You use meticulously to do everything. So I was like, you know what? I don't want to feel anymore. I don't want to deal anymore. I don't want to have to be this anymore. So I said, let's do it. And she was confused, and I was like, no, let's do it, right? So we did. And that's why I travel in on 22nd and the freeway. I hate that place. That's where I started using it. I can tell you, I was in room number 8. And,
room number 8.
Yeah. So we did, after you went off, we did some stupid shit first. And in the process, and that was it. I was off and running, right? That's supposed to be just a one and done thing. One and done became once a week. Once every 2 weeks. And then once every 2 weeks became once a week. Once a week became every couple days. Every couple days became every day. And then it became, I was in the morning before I left for work, instead of a cup of coffee, I'd have a bowl. Before I went to bed at night. Wait, sorry. Who the fuck sleeps, right? So I would smoke a bowl. Oh, I'm gonna smoke a bowl and go to bed. No, smoke a bowl and go to bed means I'm gonna smoke a bowl, I'm gonna play Magic the Gathering on my phone for 12 hours. And be like, oh shit, I gotta be at work in an hour. Let me iron my uniform and my clothes. And,
that's better.
Thanks, little man. And, go to work, right? And, got to a point where I'd be up for literally my entire work week, sometimes 2 weeks, and then my body would just crash out, right? Because I've never had an off switch, even before I started using. There's no, let's kind of halfway do something. That's why if you see me moving to grab stuff, I'm like this, because I'm like, oh, God, that hurts. Because I'm in the gym right now, and it hurts. Because the smart person says, a little bit, work your way back into it. I say, I'm going right now. So that's what I've been doing. So, I mean, we're off to the races. And I went from having, here's the kicker, I was a sales manager at Sam Levitt's making $60,000 a year, teaching people how to sell furniture and decorate and design homes, while me, myself, had no home, right? So I was guilty and shameful about that. And then it had to be that fake, like, hi guys, welcome to Sam Levitt's, how are we doing today? But on the inside, I'm like, fuck you, I hate you, fuck your house, fuck your couch, you're a dick, right? That was me on the inside. So on the outside, hi, how are you doing? My name's Lonnie, welcome in. And I got angrier and angrier and angrier and more resentful and more just off the rails. So they were like, you can't be a manager anymore. But you're still a good person, which is weird that they said I'm still a good person, because I wasn't, because I didn't think I was. So I got back into sales, and I went from being in sales to February 13th,
Don't put us down.
2018. No, 2017. What is that? I don't even know. 2018.
Move this up.
My sister's birthday, my granny's birthday. Also, that was the day that CPS came to our hotel room, knocking on the door, saying, why is this child without food, in shitty diapers with matted hair, lice, saying he's hungry? Where's his mother? His mother was off doing God knows what for God knows what. So he got taken from me. And you would think, okay, regular person, you've lost everything almost. You're homeless. You have nowhere to go. Literally had nowhere to go. Let's slow down and reconsider things, right? No. My logic was convince someone to let me stay somewhere and figure out how I can keep using, because I still don't want to process all of my past trauma and all my past misdeeds and all of my past issues and keep it going, right? So that's exactly what I did. My ex got out of jail 9 days later. We had a CPS case, or DCS, sorry. So I went to go see our son. She said she couldn't handle it, right? Cool, whatever. And this is something I am still, honestly, this is something I'm ashamed of. They did a hair follicle test on everybody. My levels were 24,000 parts per million, which is apparently astronomically high. Like, the cop who came to our door said it was like it was coming out of your pores. And I was like, oh shit, is that why I'm always ashes? So his levels at 2 years old, 2 years old. Mine is, like I said, I used every single day all the goddamn time. His levels were 22,000 parts per million, which meant that my 2-year-old son had to go through withdrawal from methamphetamines. And
I can't squeeze it.
which is, I mean, he has ADHD like his dad, also has staples in his head, which thank God I never had to get. But it makes sense, right? You know, he had to go through all that. And I'm still ashamed of that to this day. Okay, I got 5 minutes, my bad, I ramble. So, I got tired, I was homeless, woke up in a abandoned McDonald's, right? And I'm sitting there, and I was like, fuck, I don't want to be here anymore. I don't. I remember I thought gravity applied to me one day and almost walked off a cliff. It wasn't, I won't say cliff, it was a 7-foot vertical drop, and I broke my ankle. But I was so high, I thought I was fine. I couldn't figure out why my Secret Service wasn't coming for the president. Yeah. But I remember in all that haze, I did do one smart thing, and I contacted La Frontera. And they said, we can get you in somewhere, but we might have to fib and get you in. So I remember, this is always pointing this out. I'm not a small person, right? Like, I'm kind of stocky, I'm kind of stout. A year and a half ago, I was not a stocky, stout lad. I was rail thin. I had lost 65 pounds, and I remember that very vividly, and that sticks with me because I remember looking in the mirror one day thinking I looked good. Although you could see the ridges on my spine. But I did, and I remember I was boosting, homeless, tired, hungry, but, you know, still out there. But I just got tired. I was a fucking menace. Nice. But I was just tired of being angry and hungry all the time. So I checked in to a treatment center. And yeah, hey little buddy. Hello.
They're with me.
And I just remember, you know what's crazy? I still carry the picture of when I checked in. And just to remind me, I look in my eyes, and there is literally nothing there. It is just empty, sad,
Can I take what?
morose, whatever word you want to use, right?
What's this?
So I do, and I start doing work, and I start writing, and I start dealing with emotions, which, God, I hate dealing with emotions, right? And I really start listening to other people, right? Like, I mean, really start listening and start being like, I don't want this, I want a better life. Not necessarily for me. Well, yeah, I always say this. I have to put me first, because if I don't put me first, then I can't have everything else that I've gotten so far. So I do. Put me first, get myself healthier, and I get this little guy back. Right? First I get my apartment, which is cool. Still there. I get my son back. I get my car. But honestly, all those things mean nothing to me, because the thing I got back was my ability to connect to other people. I remember the first time I walked into this room, I had a hoodie on, I had my headphones in, and I didn't talk to anybody at all. Do you remember the camouflage book bag?
Vaguely.
Yeah, I wore it every time I came here. I still have it. It's in my room / living room, and
Slash kitchen.
/ dining.
Sorry.
But I have it, and I didn't talk to anybody. But eventually, I took the headphones out and I listened, and I was like, "Why are these fuckers happy? Why are you smiling? Why are you laughing? What the fuck are you doing that gives you the right to be happy?" Right? And I realized something, that everybody has the right to be. Dante, what are you doing? Okay. All right. So everybody has the right to be happy, right? So I start really listening and trying to make myself of service, even if it's as little as just listening to someone cry about their day, or giving someone a ride home, or getting groceries. And not a lot of groceries, because I can't give you a lot, but I can give you like some rice and beans and shit. That's all you need. I mean, figure it out. But I thought but it makes me happy, because now I'm at a place in my life now where even on my worst days, and like today I made a video about this, about maintenance, right? I will take this boring life that I have now, because I don't do shit besides work and here and Dante, and it's not as exciting as running from the cops and ducking through storm tunnels, or trying to figure out how I can finesse someone to give me a teener instead of, a dime. But then again, I would take the worst, most boring day now over my absolute best day then. Because my worst day now, I have me. I don't fuck all the material stuff. I have myself still, right? I have my emotions, and I can still connect to people, and I'm not shut down from the world, and I can take my son to the hospital at midnight and get his head stapled back together, which seems like it'd be like, oh my god, but it was actually like cool. I can handle shit now, and I think that's the thing I've gotten most, is like, I'm okay with not having stuff, and I'm okay with having stuff, and I've come to realize that I do deserve to be happy, and I think we all do. And I don't think we all do. I know we all deserve to be happy. And I know we're all going to deal with shit, but at least now we can deal with shit sober.
Amen.
I was going to go a little more, but I also realized that I went through a whole bunch of other shit. But, yeah. I can say this. I've been through hell and back fucking 1.5 million times, but one thing I've taught myself, and I've taught Dante, is it doesn't matter how many times you fall. It doesn't matter how many times you get knocked down or you fuck up. It's not how many times you get back up. And I was watching a clip from Steve Harvey, and it made me fucking cry. And you would think a comedian won't make you cry, but he said, you're in a process, and you have to trust that process. You have to put in the work for that process, because God is processing you. Whatever you choose as your guide is processing you. And if God were done with you, because he's not done with you yet, but if he were, you wouldn't have woken up this morning. The fact that you woke up this morning means that God is not done with you, and there is still something left for you to do. And that gets me up every single day, even on the days I don't want to get up, and I want to lay in my comfy fucking bed, and I want to watch my anime. I just want to say, fuck the world. I still have to get up. I still have shit to do because I still have work to do. And I'm still going to do that work. And I'm going to keep doing it tomorrow, too. And then tomorrow's Monday, and tomorrow's an anniversary that, you know.
Tomorrow's Thursday.
What?
Tomorrow's Thursday.
Tomorrow's October 1st.
I know, but you said tomorrow's Monday.
Tomorrow's my Monday.
Strengthen.
Look, I don't know what weekends are, right? My weekends are your week. But anyways, I'm Lonnie. I love all you crazy fuckers.
We love you.
Dante, love you.
I love it too.
All right.